There is a door in your home that is costing you money every single day. Not your front door, not your back door, not the door with the drafty gap you have been meaning to fix for years. The door to your utility room. Behind that door right now, your water heater is working. Your HVAC air handler is running. Your electrical panel is sitting in air that may be 10, 15, 20 degrees hotter or colder than the rest of your house. And every degree of temperature difference between that room and the outside air is forcing every piece of equipment inside it to work harder, run longer, and consume more electricity than it was engineered to use. There is a strip of material that costs $5 at any hardware store. You press it onto the door frame in 20 minutes with no tools, no electrician, no contractor, no permit, and your utility room equipment stops fighting the temperature and starts running at the efficiency it was designed for. The result is a 10 to 15% reduction in your monthly electric bill permanently. From a $5 fix that every contractor who has ever walked through your home has seen and never once mentioned. There is a reason they never mentioned it, and that reason has been costing you hundreds of dollars a year. If no one has ever told you this, what you are about to learn in the next 10 minutes will change the way you look at every room in your house. This is forbidden saving. We dig up what the industry buried. If this kind of knowledge matters to you, hit subscribe and turn on the bell right now, because what we open in this vault gets heavier every single video. Now let me show you exactly why contractors have stayed silent about a $5 fix for decades. The American home improvement and contracting industry generates over $500 billion in revenue every single year. That number is built on a simple foundation: complexity. The more complex a home problem appears, the more a homeowner is willing to pay a professional to solve it. The more a homeowner pays a professional, the more that professional is incentivized to find the next complex problem that requires another professional visit. A $5 Weatherstrip that a homeowner installs in 20 minutes and never needs to replace is the single most financially destructive object a contractor can encounter on a job site. It does not generate a service call. It does not require specialized tools. It does not need annual maintenance. It does not create a follow-up appointment. It generates zero revenue, zero repeat business, and zero dependency on professional expertise. So contractors look at it, they see it, they recognize exactly what it would do for your energy bill, and they walk past it to the equipment room where the water heater is showing its age, and the HVAC filter has not been changed in 8 months, and the electrical panel has a breaker that trips occasionally. The $5 fix goes unmentioned. The $3,000 equipment conversation begins. This is not malice, this is business, but the result is the same. You keep paying, every month, every year, for a problem that was always $5 away from being solved. The year was 1973. In Washington, D.C., the United States was in the grip of the first oil crisis in its history. Arab members of OPEC had imposed an embargo on oil exports to the United States in response to American support for Israel during the Yom Kippur War. Gasoline prices quadrupled overnight. Heating oil became scarce. The federal government imposed speed limits and daylight saving time extensions to reduce energy consumption. For the first time in American history, energy efficiency was a national emergency. President Nixon established the Federal Energy Office and tasked a team of engineers and building scientists with identifying every possible source of residential energy waste. The team was led by a building physicist from MIT named Dr. Arthur Rosenfeld, who would later become known as the godfather of energy efficiency. Rosenfeld's team conducted thermal imaging surveys on thousands of American homes using early infrared camera technology that had been declassified from military reconnaissance applications. What they found in utility rooms stunned the engineering team. In home after home, the utility room was operating as what Rosenfeld's team called a thermal parasite. The space containing water heaters, furnaces, and electrical equipment was exchanging air with unconditioned spaces, garages, crawl spaces, attics through gaps around pipes, conduits, and unsealed door frames. In summer, superheated attic and garage air was flooding utility rooms and forcing water heaters to maintain tank temperature against ambient air that was sometimes 120 degrees Fahrenheit. In winter, freezing air from uninsulated garages was forcing furnaces and water heaters to run continuously just to compensate for standing heat loss. Rosenfeld's team calculated that sealing utility room air infiltration with weatherstrip and foam sealant around penetrations would reduce residential energy consumption by 8 to 18% per household at a material cost of under 2. The findings were published in a 1975 Department of Energy report titled Residential Energy Conservation. The report was distributed to state energy offices, building code committees, and the National Association of Home Builders. The home building industry reviewed the findings, acknowledged the data, and incorporated exactly none of it into standard construction practice. 50 years later, the average American utility room is built and sealed the same way it was in 1973. And the DOE report that proved a $5 fix would cut energy bills by double digits is still sitting in a federal archive that almost nobody has ever read. Here is what is physically happening inside your utility room right now. Your water heater is a tank. It holds 40 to 80 gallons of water that it maintains at a constant temperature of 120 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit around the clock 7 days a week. Whether you are home or not, whether you are using hot water or not, the energy required to maintain that temperature is called standby heat loss. It is the energy your water heater burns simply to replace the heat that radiates through the tank walls into the surrounding air. The colder the air surrounding the tank, the faster heat radiates out. The faster heat radiates out, the more frequently the burner or heating element cycles on to compensate. The Department of Energy estimates that standby heat loss accounts for 15 to 20% of total water heater energy consumption in a typical household. In an unsealed utility room, where cold air infiltrates freely from an adjacent garage or crawl space, that number increases significantly. The same physics applies to your HVAC air handler. The air handler contains the evaporator coil, the blower motor, and in many systems, the heat exchanger. All of these components operate most efficiently within a narrow temperature range. When the surrounding air is dramatically hotter or colder than the designed operating range, efficiency drops measurably. The blower motor works harder, the heat exchange is less complete. The system runs longer to achieve the same conditioned air output. Research published by Oak Ridge National Laboratory on building envelope performance confirms that air infiltration through utility room penetrations and door gaps creates measurable temperature differentials of 8 to 24 degrees Fahrenheit between utility spaces and conditioned living areas in typical American homes. That temperature differential directly increases the runtime of every piece of equipment in the room. Weatherstrip seals the door gap. Foam sealant around pipe penetrations seals the wall gaps. The utility room temperature stabilizes. Equipment runtime decreases. Your electric meter slows down. The physics are not complicated. The fix is not complicated. The only thing complicated about this situation is explaining why nobody told you about it before today. Let us put real numbers on what this unsealed door has already cost you. The average American household electric bill is $137 per month, according to the most recent EIA Residential Energy Consumption Survey. That is $1,644 per year. A conservative 10% efficiency loss from utility room thermal infiltration represents $164 wasted every single year. A 15% loss, which is closer to the median in homes with attached garages, represents $247 per year. Over 5 years, that is between $820 and $1,235 inches, electricity you paid for and received no benefit from. Your water heater burned it, keeping water hot against cold garage air flooding through a gap you never knew existed. Your HVAC system burned it running longer cycles to compensate for equipment operating outside its designed temperature range. Over 10 years, $1,640 to $2,470. Now, add the secondary cost. Equipment that runs harder and longer wears faster. Water heaters have a designed lifespan of 8 to 12 years. A water heater operating in an unsealed utility room with extreme temperature swings consistently operates at the low end of that range. Replacement cost for a standard 50-gallon water heater, including installation, $800 to $1,500. HVAC systems have a designed lifespan of 15 to 20 years. Systems that run extended cycles due to thermal inefficiency consistently underperform that range. Replacement cost for a central air system, $5,000 to $12,000. All of this. Every dollar. Preventable with $5 of Weatherstrip and 20 minutes on a Saturday morning. That is what the contracting industry decided was acceptable in exchange for keeping your equipment replacement cycle profitable. That should make you angry enough to go to the hardware store today. Let me tell you who already knows about this. Every certified energy auditor in the United States is trained to check utility room air sealing as one of the first items on a residential energy assessment. When a homeowner pays $300 to $500 for a professional energy audit, the auditor walks directly to the utility room, checks the door gap, checks penetrations around pipes and conduits, and notes air infiltration as a primary efficiency opportunity. This is standard protocol. It has been standard protocol since the 1980s. The recommendation in the audit report always includes Weatherstrip and foam sealant. The fix always costs under $20. The projected savings always justify the fix by a factor of 50 to 1 over 10 years. The homeowners who receive those audit reports and follow through on the recommendation see the savings. The homeowners who never had an audit never heard the recommendation. And audits cost $300 to $500, which means the majority of American homeowners have never had one. Commercial building operators treat utility room and mechanical room envelope sealing as standard preventive maintenance. Facility managers at hospitals, office buildings, and industrial facilities audit mechanical room air infiltration on annual schedules because the energy cost data makes the ROI calculation simple. The United States military has incorporated utility room and mechanical space sealing into base housing construction standards since the 1990s, following studies demonstrating measurable reductions in energy consumption per housing unit. Energy Star certified home builders are required to seal utility room penetrations to certified standards before a home can receive Energy Star designation. The knowledge is not hidden in any exotic location. It is in DOE publications, energy audit training manuals, Energy Star builder requirements, and commercial facility management textbooks. The only place it was never communicated is in the conversation between a contractor standing in your utility room and you. Here is exactly what you need and exactly what you do. You need two things: a roll of foam Weatherstrip tape with adhesive backing. Look for a product labeled Door Weatherstrip or Door Seal Foam. The standard size is 3/8 inch wide by 3/16 inch thick. This fits the gap on virtually every interior door in a standard American home. A standard roll costs between $3 and $7 at any hardware store. You also need a can of expanding foam sealant for the pipe penetrations. Any brand of low-expansion foam labeled for windows and doors works correctly. Cost is between $4 and $8. Total material costs $7 to $15. Total time 20 to 30 minutes. Step 1. Open the utility room door completely. Look at the door frame on all four sides. Run your hand slowly around the gap between the door and the frame with the door closed. If you feel any air movement at all, that gap is actively exchanging air between your utility room and the adjacent space. Note where the gaps are largest. Step 2. With the door open, clean the doorstop surface on all four sides of the frame with a dry cloth. Remove any dust, paint flakes, or debris. The adhesive on the Weatherstrip requires a clean surface to bond permanently. Step 3. Measure the top of the door frame. Cut a length of Weatherstrip to match using scissors. Peel the adhesive backing. Press the Weatherstrip firmly onto the doorstop surface, which is the narrow ledge the door closes against, along the entire top of the frame. Press firmly for 10 seconds along the entire length. Step 4. Repeat for both vertical sides of the frame. Measure, cut, peel, press. Make sure the corners meet cleanly, without overlap or gap. Step 5. For the door bottom, use a door sweep rather than foam tape. A door sweep is a strip of flexible rubber or brush material that attaches to the bottom of the door itself and seals the gap at the floor. These cost $5 to $10 and attach with 2 screws or adhesive. They are available at the same hardware store. Step 6. Close the door and run your hand around the entire perimeter again. The air movement should be completely gone. If any gap remains, add a second layer of Weatherstrip at that location. Step 7. Use the expanding foam sealant to seal every pipe and conduit penetration in the utility room walls. Every hole where a water pipe, gas line, electrical conduit or drain pipe passes through the wall to an unconditioned space needs to be sealed. Apply foam around the pipe perimeter, let it expand and cure for 1 hour, then trim any excess flush with the wall surface using a utility knife. Step 8. Do nothing else. Wait for your next electric bill. The seal you just created stops the air exchange that was forcing your equipment to run inefficiently. Your water heater standby loss drops. Your HVAC runtime shortens. Your meter turns more slowly. Total cost of everything under $15. Total time under 30 minutes. No contractor, no permit, no follow-up service call, ever. Your grandparents built their own homes. They knew where every pipe went, where every gap was, and what every draft cost them when the heating oil ran low in February. Then housing became a product. Homes were built fast by crews optimizing for speed and profit per square foot, not for the family that would pay the utility bills for the next 30 years. The gaps that Arthur Rosenfeld photographed with infrared cameras in 1973 were built into homes in 1983, 1993, 2003, and are being built into new homes today, because sealing them properly costs the builder $20 and the buyer nothing. And a builder who spends $20 extra on every unit is a builder who loses contracts to competitors who do not. The knowledge of what those gaps cost you is available. It has been in Doe publications for 50 years. It is in every energy audit report written by every certified auditor in the country. It is in the training manual of every contractor who has ever walked through your utility room. They just never told you, because the unsealed door that costs you $200 a year is the same unsealed door that makes your water heater wear out 3 years early and your HVAC system run a full replacement cycle ahead of schedule. And a contractor who tells you to spend $5 on Weatherstrip today is a contractor who loses a $1.500 water heater replacement job in 4 years. The fix did not change. The foam tape did not stop working. The physics of standby heat loss did not expire. They just stopped telling you about it. And they kept collecting the equipment replacement revenue that your unsealed utility room guaranteed they would always have. Now you know. Your utility room door has a problem, and it costs $5 to fix it today. If this opened your eyes, subscribe and share this with someone who is still wondering why their electric bill never goes down, no matter what they do. Every share keeps this vault open. Every subscription preserves what the industry spent 50 years trying to make invisible. The next vault opens soon. What is inside is heavier than anything we have opened yet.